The 100 Years' War rages on. Get ready to witness epic victories, crushing defeats, and the next chapter of this legendary conflict. In 1372, King Edward III launched another military expedition by landing once again on the continent. However, the English were unsuccessful in this attack as well and were forced to sign a new truce in Bruges in 1375. Under this agreement, which remained in force until Edward III's death in 1377, England lost all its territories in France except for Calais, Bordeaux, Bayonne, and Cherbourg. When Prince Edward died in 1376 and King Edward III in 1377, only the Black Prince's 10-year-old son, Richard II, remained. This could have been an opportunity for the French. However, Charles V did not make the best use of it. The small but professional French army led by Bertrand du Guesclin defeated the English in northern France in a series of battles and pushed them back as far as Calais. Nevertheless, when Charles V died in 1380, the English had still not been completely expelled from France. On the English side, the people were not pleased with being ruled by a 10-year-old monarch. According to English rules, when a child monarch ascended the throne, a regent would be appointed to govern the country. However, this was not implemented during the reign of Richard II, and the country was effectively ruled by the 10-year-old Richard himself. During Richard's reign, the Peasants' Revolt broke out in 1381, followed by the Anglo-Scottish War in 1384. In an attempt to fix the worsening economy caused by these crises, the crown increased taxes, which made matters even more unbearable. The rebel peasants burned and destroyed their surroundings and marched as far as London. However, when the leader of the rebels, Wat Tyler, was captured and executed, the revolt was brutally suppressed. The situation in France was no different. After the death of Charles V in 1380, the 11-year-old Charles VI ascended the throne. However, due to his young age, the country was governed by his uncles for 8 years. While France faced epidemic disease and economic stagnation during this period, additional taxes placed a heavy burden on the people, especially the peasants. For this reason, the new administration had to deal with internal unrest. Thus, for a long time, neither England nor France had any desire to fight. After this date, the parties remained loyal to peace for a long period and sought to improve both their economic conditions and military strength. The French war with England was largely dependent on taxation. Although Charles V had abolished most of these taxes on his deathbed, when Charles VI and his administrators reinstated them, problems began to arise between the French government and the people. This chain of events further weakened the French capacity to wage war against the English. By 1398, both kings had come of age and had begun to take direct control of their country's administrations, establishing direct contact with one another. During this period, the two countries grew closer. Indeed, King Richard II of England married the daughter of King Charles VI of France, and the two countries became relatives once again. However, this period of peace did not last long. A group of earls within the English administration blamed the French for the suffering of the English people and the outbreaks of disease. In 1400, Richard II died while in prison. Henry IV, following in the footsteps of Edward III, declared himself the heir to the Kingdom of France and began preparing for war against France once again. Meanwhile, King Charles VI of France had begun to show signs of insanity during this period. As he occasionally suffered fits in which he attacked those around him, the country was governed for a time by his brother, Louis, Duke of Orleans. When Louis learned that England was preparing for war again, he secretly encouraged Scotland and Wales to rebel against the English. While the English were preoccupied with internal matters, the French launched attacks on English territories in the Aquitaine region. In 1405, the French captured many towns in Saintonge and Périgord. In the north, another French army advanced as far as the outskirts of Calais but was repelled by the English after fierce clashes. The French failure in the north stemmed from the rivalry between John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, and Louis, Duke of Orleans, which deeply divided France. The power struggle between the two princes culminated in 1407 with the assassination of Louis, Duke of Orleans, instigated by John the Fearless. This event sparked a major civil war in France. King Henry IV of England supported both the French and the Duke of Burgundy during this civil war. However, in 1413, King Henry IV died and was succeeded by his son, Henry V. Taking advantage of the civil war within France, Henry V landed at Harfleur with an army of 10,000 men. Harfleur was besieged, but the city resisted longer than expected and was only captured 2 months later. Due to this delay and the approaching winter, Henry V abandoned his plan to march on Paris. Instead, the English decided to advance toward English-held Calais, capturing the cities they passed along the way one by one. Rather than returning to England that year, Henry V remained in Calais to make preparations. With the arrival of warmer weather, the English army resumed its campaign, targeting Normandy and surrounding cities, defeating the French army and capturing these towns. At this time, Isabeau of Bavaria, the wife of Charles VI who had assumed control of the French government, joined forces with John the Fearless, Duke of Burgundy, and organized a defense against the English in the cities north of Paris. Despite their slow progress, the English army defeated the French, captured many cities, and advanced to the gates of Paris. At that very moment, a turning point of the 100 Years' War occurred. Just as King Henry V of England was on the verge of capturing Paris, he contracted dysentery and, due to the severity of the illness, died on August 31, 1422, at the age of 36. The English throne passed to Henry V's 9-month-old son, Henry VI. However, due to his very young age, his uncle, the Duke of Bedford, assumed control of the government and continued the war in France on his behalf. Thus, the English crown passed to the infant Henry VI, while the real weight of war fell upon the Duke of Bedford. Cities changed hands, armies marched, and France remained divided. The 100 Years' War did not slow, it only grew more intense. The war was far from over. Its most legendary chapter was about to begin.